It is a thrilling Thursday here. All right. You've got two cons to do today. Hello, CCA students. How are you all doing today? Um, by the way, for those that are working ahead, thank you. I think that's awesome. Remember, the more you work ahead, the more time you give yourself on quizzes and on the unit test at the end to master that to the best of your ability. So I highly encourage that. But if you're just keeping caught up, well, then here is your videos for today. Your two variable inequalities from their graph. So this is the first con you're going to be doing. The first one, I guess I've already given the answers here. I didn't quite mean to do that. But let's go through how I got those answers. All right. Here is our line. Notice that it's a dashed line. So that is why I gave this a inequality sign of greater than and not equal to. So because it's dashed. Now, why is it greater? If you take the y-intercept, you'll notice that it's shaded above the y-intercept. So that's why it's greater than. Had it been shaded below, it would be less than. But this one is shaded above. So then we just got to put together our equation like we typically would do. How do we find the m? How do we find the b? Well, the b, this -2, is quite simple. Where does it cross the y-intercept? At -2. So that's where the -2 came from. And our slope from this point goes up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 4 divided by 1 can simplify to just simply 4. So our inequality is y is greater than 4x minus 2. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, hopefully it will after this one. On this one, you'll notice that the y-intercept is at -2 again. So my y-intercept on this one is -2. You'll notice that my slope goes down 3 over 2. So down 3 over 2, -3 over 2. When you enter this into con, one of the things I noticed as I entered this one is after I entered the fraction of -3 over 2, the cursor was still down on the bottom next to the 2. So if I hit x at that point, I'm putting x in as my denominator, and that would be marked incorrect. So you need to make sure that you do not put x in as your denominator, but rather if you hit the tab button, it'll move the cursor back up just to the right of the full fraction, and then you can hit your x at that point. So remember, if you put x in as a fraction, it will mark it incorrect. So just letting you know that. Now, inequality. Why did I choose less than and equal to? Well, first of all, the equal to, because it's a solid line. And the less than is because starting at the y-intercept, it is shaded below, so it would be less than. That is how you put together your two equations. All right. Hopefully that con makes sense and you'll be able to do that. Now for your second con of the day, we'll go up to here. Your second con is called systems of inequality graphs. So you're going to notice that you have two inequalities here. This one here and that one there. We're going to start with the first one. So you're going to notice on this one, notice how all the lines are solid for all four of them, but the shading is different for all four of them. So the deal on this one is the shading, not the lines themselves. So let's look at the shading. The first one says it needs to be y is less than or equal to, and notice that the y-intercept is at 3. So if I look at my slope where 3 is, which is the blue line crosses at 3, I need it to be y is less than. Less than means we would shade below. So notice that this one shades above. Notice that this letter C also shades above. So we know right off the bat, those two cannot be correct. Okay? So then that brings us to our second part. This one is y is greater than, and our y-intercept is -2. So if you look at -2, greater than means we'd shade above. Well, it looks like this one works out just fine. Greater than means shade above, and this one does not work out okay. So we would cross that one out. That means our answer would be letter B for this one. Okay? That's if you need to figure out the shading. Sometimes, though, all the shading is exactly the same. Take a look at this example. Notice that the shading in every single one of these is exactly the same. So they don't have an issue with the shading, but notice the lines. Some are dotted, some are solid, and you got to get the correct one. So now we're worried about the actual line itself. This first one, Again, my y-intercept is positive 2. That's my cue to it. And its y is greater than, not equal to, just greater than. So this one should be a dashed line going through positive 2. So if I look at positive 2, this one is a dashed line. This one is a dashed line. So those two are fine. This one's a solid line. Can't be that one. Oops. And this one also is a solid line. So it can't be that one either. Now we take a look at the second one. Y is less than or equal to. This one needs to be a solid line. So the one that crosses through negative 2 needs to be solid. So let's find that. The first one, notice that this one is a dotted line going through negative 2. We need a solid line, so that can't be right. And this one here is a solid line, just the way we want it. So we know that in this case, letter B is correct. Hopefully that helps you understand how to do systems of inequality graphs. So we've done 2 today. 2 variable inequalities where you have to come up with the inequality equation. And then the second one being system of inequality graphs, where either you need to figure out which is the correct shading, or you need to figure out which are the correct type of lines being used. All right. Hopefully this makes good sense to you. I wish you all luck. I still hope that you are all trying to work ahead, maximize your amount of time on those tests. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.